Hello everybody, my name is Xaphan, and I got a new microphone, and welcome back to Everlasting Summer, so you guys can hear me better, but you'll also be able to hear a lot of other sounds better as well, which kind of sucks. But anyway, so we are now doing the Harem ending, which the only difference in options, I think, between the Harem ending and the Catgirl ending is... yeah, so the only difference is this, whether you go back or you keep going. So for the Harem ending, you keep going. Damn that Sovyonok. There is no camp, no pioneers, and it really doesn't matter why I arrived there. My priority is to get out, and quickly. I'll go forward. I shrugged my shoulders, trying to express a minimum of interest. Yulia stared hard at me for some time, but then took a couple of steps forward, as if inviting me to follow her.
Well, are you going?
Well, yes we are. It seemed like for the first time today, we got a bit closer to the city, like 100 meters or so. I was almost sure that I'll reach it, then I heard sounds of a car horn from behind. A bus, an Icarus, approached us fast, cutting through the night darkness with its lights. I stepped to the roadside. Yo-Yo wasn't around. How did she manage to appear and disappear so unnoticeably? The bus slowly stopped next to me. The door opened and... Olga stepped out.
Semyon, why didn't you come back? I asked you to.
I could ask you the same thing. You said a disaster happened, and now you...
Okay.
She suddenly softened.
Get on the bus.
What? And what about the city?
That's why we're going there, to see for ourselves.
I hesitated. On one hand, it would be faster to go by bus. This road should lead to the city. On the other hand, the actions of the camp leader seemed strange. We're going in the same direction for the time being anyway. Okay. I agreed and got onto the bus. But Yulia! The Icarus went in the direction of the mysterious city, bouncing over the bumps. It was too slow in my opinion. I was so tired that my eyes started to close. And what about Yulia? Did I just leave her alone there? It looked like all the pioneers who had been in Sovyonok had gotten onto the bus. Maybe she wanted to say something to me. However, regardless of my struggle with Morpheus, my loud snoring sounded from the back seat within a couple of minutes. Jesus Christ. What about Yulia, man? Where's she going? What's she doing? Everything is over now. Or not. I wanted to get out so badly and not fall asleep. Is exhaustion the reason? Probably not. It was like I got a dose of sedative. People can't lose consciousness just like that, and I never suffered from narcolepsy. My thoughts flowed fast and calm, like a wide river. Nothing interfered with their flight because I was sleeping. But at the same time, it felt like I was conscious. I'm about to open my eyes. An old, chipped ceiling was looking down at me. A big crack divided it in two parts lengthways, as if threatening to drop the upper floors on me. The computer fan sounded peaceful but strained. Thousands of specks of dust danced beautifully in the air. The wind wailed outside the window, licking the frost-covered glass and then flying away, twirling the snowflakes in its wake. The bright, winter-cold moon looked down at my world, winking merrily. Interesting. There was a ringing in my heavy head and I felt dizzy. A nasty aftertaste filled my mouth, as if I'd eaten the contents of an ashtray and washed them down with a bottle of vodka. The realization didn't come at once. I was intending to go somewhere yesterday and I had a strange dream about summer, a camp, pioneers, and their camp leader. About a strange cat girl in a distant city. I always forget the end of my dreams. Did I get to the city or not? Wait a minute. Was that really a dream? I spent nearly a week in that camp. However, the clock didn't agree with me. According to it, only about 12 hours had passed. I sat up on the bed and tried to remember. My feelings and emotions were really vivid, but the events of that dream were covered in fog. I remember girls, their tears and smiles. Remember joy and sadness that we experienced together, but their faces and figures were concealed by shadow. And there was a mine of some sort, a bomb shelter, and then an island and a departure. And those damn grasshoppers which disturbed my sleep. Masha ending! Masha ending! And Slavia, and Lena, and Alyssa, and Olyana, and Masha. And Yulia! But there was something else, something beyond the dream, my life after, seemingly a new level of existence. Yes, I had woken up many times, met those girls while being awake in this world, and then everything started all over again. This huge load of information just couldn't settle in my head. My memory was overflowing. I was forgetting something every second. I couldn't understand what was real and what was not. All the events of the camp blended into one fantastic picture. A collage made from hundreds of works by hundreds of artists in different styles. Scraps of feelings, shadows of emotions, parts of memories. My life was ripped apart and clumsily sewn back together, and the result was something like that disfigured doll I'd found in the camp together with Olyana. Or was it Slavia? That night, search for Shirk flew before my eyes with all its details, but I couldn't remember the face of a girl who was with me at that time. The dream was getting more foggy with every moment. Will it be forgotten soon? I can't let that happen, I must remember. Even without details, even without faces, maybe even without names. I'm sure it is not just a dream. It's something bigger, something very important to me. A voice started to ring in my head, and it was not mine, it was someone else's. It was quiet and distant at first, but was growing louder with every moment, and soon I almost could make out the words. But it was probably just my imagination. One electrical brain impulse contained more thoughts than 1,000 books. I remembered something in that dream I'd left unfinished. The city? No, I'd reached the city. Yulia! From the depths of my consciousness, the image of a cat girl arose. She stared at me furiously and moved her ears in a funny way. Was it not a dream? Was that week I had spent in the camp not a dream? I walked around the room, looked out the window. The outside world was the same as yesterday. I was on the verge of going insane. The silence of my flat was disturbed by the ringing of the doorbell. Who might that be at such an hour? I didn't want to open the door at first. I was even afraid. But then the thought that it was a good opportunity to check, was this a dream? People in the dream and in reality are totally different. I'll open the door and see. I made it to the entrance in 2 leaps, pulled on the door handle and without even looking in the peephole, and oh, it's all the girls. And Slavia has no hair. All her hair's gone. She's a lesbian now. The girls stood in front of the door. The girls from the camp. But something had changed about them. I didn't remember every detail of their appearance in the dream. However, Slavia's hairdo and Olyana seemed taller. A heavy silence hung in the air for a moment. I was petrified, my thoughts frozen, feeling no fear or any other emotions. The girls seemed not to be surprised at all. "Hi," Slavia said happily. "Why are you standing around like a dummy?" exclaimed Olyana. I got words onto my tongue, but I couldn't form a sensible question out of them. I had so many things to ask at once.
Calm down, girls. You shouldn't shock a person like this.
I remembered Lena at once, remembered our life after the camp. And Slavia, that conversation at the night bus stop. And Olyana, our encounter at the university. And Alyssa at my concert. And even Masha in the other world. But how? Well, yes. To cut a long story short, Alyssa started to speak casually. Don't be so surprised. Did you think you were the only one?
In Sovyonok?
I can't remember what I did for her voice. Yes, in Sovyonok. You weren't the only one.
We were there too.
But how do you all together here?
The point is that every one of us had their own camp, and you had yours. I mean, in ours, you behaved differently.
Slavia sounded awkward.
Really different. You chased me with that cake. I barely managed to escape. It turned out that we remembered everything before you did and understood that they were just not dreams.
Wait, but how is it? Only one day has passed.
No, it's gone on much longer. At first, I thought so too. That only I had dreams about the camp, but then people from there started to become more real. You started too.
She sighed deeply.
And those horrors.
Seems like Lena will start crying any second now. Stop it already. I told you 1,000 times it wasn't him. It was another Semyon. And what does that mean? Another Semyon?
You see, there are many such dreams, many camps. Everyone has a personal one, and each one of them you behave in different ways. Somewhere it is like that.
She looked at Lena with sadness and went on.
Many of your incarnations told us about other camps and other versions of us. But we were just dolls there, playing preset roles.
I'm not some doll! Oyana was outraged. We got tired of that, of course. But we started to look for an exit, and one time I got into Miku's world.
Don't call me that!
But I remember the camp was completely different there. We were shooting a movie and...
What's the difference? In any case, the dream repeated!
Well, then we managed to connect the rest of the worlds into one for all 5 of us, and from there, it was all in the bag. Alyssa smiled and I recognized that smile.
The only thing left was to find you.
To find me? Why? I certainly wasn't against it, no. Everything fell into place at last. Sovyonok, pioneers, the camp leader, these girls. What about Yulia?
Who?
Yulia, the cat girl, didn't you see her?
Yes, someone did mention something about that.
How could that? I still felt somewhat guilty about leaving Yulia. That's how it is. Each of us had only one world of our own, and you had many of them.
And then we understood that only you were connected with reality.
How did you understand that?
The pioneer told us. I mean, the you who claimed to have been in that dream for a long time.
Some weirdo, probably gone completely bananas. I couldn't get everything they were saying straight out in my mind. Okay, wait. I put all my thoughts together. Then that camp was not a dream? Everything has been going on for a long time. There were many camps which had me and you, but each of you had one, and I had many? No, I don't understand.
That's about right.
Stop sulking, you're so boring. It was a lot of fun. For example, I've never visited Pioneer Camp. You probably hadn't either. But who's behind all this and why?
That's why we came, to find out.
But how did you find me? Suddenly I felt doubt and even fear. Oyana pinched me at once. Ouch! Just in case you thought you were dreaming. My throat needed clearing.
It wasn't difficult.
Your copies could certainly be talkative if they wanted to.
Or if you forced them to.
Fucking Lena is fucking insane, man. Lena added quietly.
So first we met in real life, then we came to you.
Greet your guests! Unbelievable. My life turned upside down in the blink of an eye. Obviously I didn't remember this dream, or dreams as girls said, in full detail, but I felt too that the camp was something bigger than that. It brought us together at first there and now here. The only question of Yulia still remained. But might I know the answer? I could just forget it, just like I forgot many other things. Okay, I hope you tell me everything in detail.
Sure.
That's what we're here for. Well, come in. Don't stand on the doorstep. Tea, coffee, dance. I added, trying to calm down and come to myself. Lena's eyes glared. Alright, we'll save the dancing for later. Ah. Well, that was short. I guess I could have added that one onto the end of, I guess I could have added that onto the end of the cat girl ending. I don't know why I didn't. So, you guys know what's happening. The One Pioneer story, yeah. Every story has its canvas, synopsis, content, key moments, prologues, and epilogues. There is no book that rereading it would not reveal new details you hadn't noticed before. But every book has a last page, and after turning it over, we put the book on the shelf. Just open a new one tomorrow. This thing has a lot of, like, in-depth feels, and, you know, existentialism. Harem Master 80 level. Yeah, boy. Oh, God. And there we go. And that, right there, that's the harem ending. So now, well, of course I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it there. Well, now that we've done that, so yeah, Miku was never really Miku. Miku was just something else. So now we go down and we go to mod and users scenario and we go to One Pioneer story. I should probably get the walkthrough up because I have no idea what the hell I'm going to be doing, yo. So just give me 2 seconds. Okay, I can't find one, so we're just going to go through it, man. We're just going to do it. We're just going to see how we go. Oh. Oh, the cat. And that's the infirmary. It's the Genda statue. Cybernetics Club. And the gates. The forest? Yeah, I've played this game too much. I know what everything is. Deeper into the forest. The glade. So I wonder what happens in this one. My world is empty as I am. I destroyed myself to become a whole world, a world of emptiness that destroyed me. I believe I had someone's fate in my hands, the power to end the lives of others. But I was only wandering in the darkness, vainly hiding from any new beam of light, every one of which was only spawning empty shadows. Every shadow was my faceless reflection, a cloud of absolute darkness with a single goal, to consume me. I was hiding from them, merging with them. They were becoming me and I was becoming them. And finally, it didn't matter which one of us is on the side of the mirror. Is this like all of the Semyons? No fucking way it can be. No fucking way. Although in this case, it's not that... No, it's not just as cliched, just a cliched phrase or the reflection of a crude loser. It is in fact. Even though this wasn't the case before, even though before this the worlds where many in my life could be called alive, because it all ended in a single moment. First was this damn bus. Again, everywhere, and a crowd of those joyfully whooping pioneers around, the same as me. And then again and again, like a vivid kaleidoscope of faces, events, emotions, and feelings. But who the hell cares anymore? You know, if a man has died, he will regret what he didn't have time for. What he didn't do. What he didn't say. Rather than exactly how his life journey ended. But am I in one of those places where the souls go after death? And everything could have been different too. It doesn't matter that the end is always on one and the same if the road to it can vary. It depends on my choice. It did before. So when did everything change? The different versions of events, the lines of life, the people's fates seemed to intertwine several times over, resulting in something like a rope of doom, which you can only hang yourself on. So when did it all change? Surely not in a single day, a single hour, but certainly so fast that I didn't even have time to notice. Interestingly... The rays of the summer sun shine into my eyes. A summer one. Well, who would have thought? What a surprise. But it was winter yesterday. Or was it yesterday? I know there's a pack of cigarettes and a matchbox tucked away in the driver's glove box. My head spun from the deep breaths I inhaled, and the nasty smell of menthol fettered my brain with a chill. Cosmos. For export. They could damn well make stuff for export then, unlike now. Nuclear reactors, rifles, cigarettes, and communism. Lots of communism in boxes, crates, containers, in the cargo holds of ships, in the freight sections of planes, in the goods wagons of trains, even in the spaceships. Even more communism to the pygmies of Africa, Incans of South America, Poppins of New Guinea. And I guess we can drop a package for the penguins in Antarctica too. Foe. I'm raving. Finishing the third cigarette, I stared at the gates and started to wait. I don't even need a clock. There's an unfailing internal chronometer working in my head. Now just a little bit longer. Oh, so this is... I'm playing as the Semyon, who's repeated this already. Like, I think I'm playing as that... I'm playing as that Semyon... That pioneer Semyon, that came across and was like, I have the deep voice, I have the very deep voice, because I decided I wanted to make him the deep voice. One of the doors squeaked disgustingly and opened up a bit, and from behind it peeked out a girl in a pioneer uniform, who looked around and noticed me. Walking closer, she sniffed the heavy, hot air and seemed to be a bit surprised, but immediately smiled and spoke.
Hi, you must be new.
Oh god! Oh, why did that scare me? It's just words! Oh. Oh god. I shouted, "Gut up," and went to the camp ignoring her. It was hilarious once, then it was fun. Now it's just a habit. A foolish but obsessive habit, like putting different things in different pockets. I, for example, can't carry a phone in my right pocket because, hell if I know why. And this is the same deal. Insulting a girl in the morning is a good start to the day. I met another pioneer girl on the way. To be more precise, she tried to hit me on the back, but I jumped away in time and glared at her in a way that seemed to make the poor girl suddenly come up with more urgent things to do. Camp leader's hut was drowning in a storm of lilacs. Can it just down already? Drown already, damn it. A loud slam of the door distracted the occupant from reading some book. No, I really never wondered what the camp leader reads. Without undressing, I hopped onto the bed and threw my feet in their winter boots up on the backboard. What do you think you're doing? And for the matter, who are you? The camp leader asked, genuinely resentful. I am the Deep Dark Semyon, so maybe I should give him the Deep Dark voice. Shut your mouth, woman, I said blazily. She was petrified, unable to say a word. It's always like this, every damn time. Better yet, tell me, why have you still not found yourself a man? How old are you, 25, late 20s? You should understand the way the world works at this age. For a moment, a heavy silence hung in the room. You don't know? I'll tell you then. Who the hell wants someone like you? The camp leader's house resounded with a loud laugh, or even something more like a horse neigh, while a familiar melody rang outside. A couple of times I tried to find out where the supper music was coming from, so instead of it, the speakers would play something more or less cheery throughout the camp. I didn't know. Looks like this angelic singing needs neither a player nor wires or electricity. To hell with it then. For example, right now, I wouldn't be against the whole camp hearing me laugh. Laugh. But at whom? Not at myself, no. I'm just laughing because laughter is a wonderful defense mechanism and a way to allay the boredom. How much does a minute of laughter give you? 5 minutes of life? Well, it's no use to me. I'm a de facto immortal. I just need a notarial certificate.
How dare you talk this way to your elder?
Oila, dear. Change the track already, will you? Honestly, I'm sick of listening to the same thing time and time again. Let's try it this way. Hello, how are you doing? See? It's not that difficult, okay? Your turn now.
What?
Not what. It's hello, how are you doing? And I'll reply, thanks, I'm bad as always. And then maybe I'll even add, thanks to your prayers.
Get out of here, I'll call the police.
How? With the Pigeon Express, the phone isn't working.
Yes, but
The camp leader faltered. Although... I reached into my pockets, the left one, took out my mobile and threw it at her. Here! Try it. The camp leader caught the phone, it jumped around several times in her hands and almost fell to the floor.
What is this?
A phone. I gave a short answer and closed my eyes. That thing, you know, ting-a-ling-ling. The phone began to ring.
Are you sick in the head?
The camp leader seemed to have finally started to come to her senses. What about you?
I don't know what's happening here.
Have you seen the film Groundhog Day? You haven't? Well, anyway, if that library of yours had some books on psychiatry, I would have been able to answer the question about my psychiatric condition with more certainty. That's why for now, I'm only ready to tell you as an amateur. Yes, oh yeah dear, I'm sick. And again, the loud devilish laughter. The camp leader was stunned and realized the phone from her hand. It fell on the edge of the bed and bounced towards me. Picked up the cell phone at once and put it in my pocket. But I'm not in love with you, I added, opening one eye. Someone shoutily knocked on the door, then opened it and a pioneer girl appeared at the doorstep. Oh, god damn it! I theatrically jumped off the bed. Where's the chopper? Forgotten at home? The girl looked at the camp leader in confusion.
This is...
She started, then sighed and sank heavily onto the opposite bed. Actually, I knew that the camp leader isn't afraid of me. The fear is simply not included in our program. She can be resentful, yeah. As much as you want. Imitate fright most assuredly. But a couple of minutes will pass and she'll withdraw, leaving me be. Camp leader, my foot. If I were in her shoes...
This must be a bad time.
The girl shyly prattled, casting her eyes down and preparing to leave. Why? Don't be shy, I exclaimed hospitably, gesturing to a place near me. Sit down. Make yourself at home.
No.
Sit down, I said. I barked. Now this girl can certainly display genuine fright, fear, and even terror. She slowly approached and sat on my bed, clinging to the backboard. So, got anything nice to tell me? Jesus Christ, okay. Sure, I mean, I understand why this Semyon has a stick up his ass. I, the same as any other kid, was taught by my parents since childhood that I shouldn't open the door to strangers. And also that I would be better off not going who knows where when called by who knows what, who knows who. But that was in childhood. And now literally everything depends on whether or not I trust a stranger. It seems like a whole life has gone by already and I had time to get old mentally, if not physically. And I forgot what winter is. Snow, cold, the evening darkness. A wind that chills to the bone and eternal muddy slush. Same goes for the city, not stopping for a minute. Always running somewhere. And fumigating the dirty sky and people with its lines of rotten chimneys and car exhausts. It stayed in the distant past, like the faded pages of an old photo album. that has been thrown into a storeroom unnecessarily. Oh! Hey! The voice of the girl sitting nearby distracted me from these thoughts. You hung up again, still thinking about that? About what? She meant no offense, and I asked again just for the sake of it. I already knew the answer. You know, we were sitting on the library's roof, our legs dangling over the edge. Semyon leaned back a bit, her hair beautifully fluttering in the wind. The bright sun was shining into her eyes, making us squint. But it wasn't blinding, more like velvety warm. It seemed to envelop your whole body in the pleasant heat of a sunny day. No. I mean, I don't know, I guess. Lately, I can't always say that I'm thinking about just a mush of thoughts in my head. I fell silent for a moment and looked at Semyon. She looked like she was uninterested not only in our conversation, but in everything happening around her in general. As if this girl was okay with everything, the summer, the sun, the pleasant wind, our youth. As if this is enough for her to be happy and the rest are just foolish trivialities. In short, you get what I'm saying? Why do you even ask? Because a human is a social creature. It's supposed to communicate with others like it. She grinned unnoticeably. Yeah, right. Look who's talking. Wait here, I'll go get the award for the most communicative pioneer of the year 1980 whatever. What about me? I, unlike some people, have quite specific responsibilities in this camp. I'm a respected member of our collective, irreplaceable even, in a sense, in contrast to you. Xenia's eyes sparked as she grinned mockingly. Responsibilities, yeah, sure. I covered my eyes with the palm and leaned back. Seriously, can you hear yourself? Responsibilities, collective. Hey! Xenia said sternly and poked me in the belly. Oh. I moaned most theatrically and cast a wrathful glance in her direction. What if I fell down? Hurt myself, huh? That would be highly regrettable. There isn't even any place to get life insurance here. Yeah, and there would be no one to pay the reimbursement to afterwards. Well, no one is. I rubbed the back of my head, smiled dumbly, and said, What about you? Me? Xenia thought for a second. Well, maybe, though I don't think the canteen accepts dollars, euro, credit cards, or at the very least Russian rubles. And there's probably no currency exchange here either. And even if there was, who knows how the exchange rate is doing? I don't want to suffer from the inflation, you know. I demand they pay you in gold. Gold my ass! She threw herself on me, trying to either tickle me, squeeze me, beat me down, or all of the above. That's different. Leaving the camp leader's house, I was chuckling. I probably shouldn't have expected anything from the conversation with this pioneer girl. And I didn't. Why would I? It's all been known for a long time now. I'm able to play this piece on my own, like a miserable one-man show. What an irony. Play with one actor, in a theater with one spectator, in a city with one citizen, in a universe with one living being, in a one. Or living in quotation marks, or maybe living in italics. What kind of obituary would you prefer? With scroll work or without? With capitals or without? What font would you like? Should the paper be glossy or matte? Foe again! Down the road was skipping a jolly little girl. Maybe you should start with her this time around? I remember there being splendid meat hooks in the canteen. Or shouldn't I? Who are you? She blurted out, coming up to me. I am the terror that flaps in the night. Boo! I demonstratively spread my arms and loomed over her. That's not scary at all. Not scary? Well, it'll do for now. I grinned and went forward. Hey! Her shout followed me. Wait! The girl caught up to me and grabbed my hand. Don't touch me! I cried with disgust and forcefully jerked my hand so the young pioneer flew off the road and fell into the bushes. This Semyon is a dick. Ouch, that hurt! She started to cry. Strange. Now this is really strange. I don't think something like this has ever happened before. Of course, this day has repeated itself so many times that it's impossible to count. And the point is really not the girl flying into the bushes, it's that there shouldn't be anything new. Even such an insignificant, as one might think, occurrence may in the end turn out to be more important than all the previous times. Than the first time. I don't know why, I just feel that it's simply been too long since anything new happened. Of course, this world isn't comparable to a monotone mechanism that does its work soullessly, but all the variations of the script are familiar to me. And when I say all, I mean all in bold. A couple of minutes ago into the camp leader's house could have come not that shy pioneer girl, but the girl who met me at the camp gates, and I would be ready. Or the arrogant pioneer girl that greets strangers with a thump on the back, and I would be ready. Or even this little crybaby, and I would still be ready. But now, at this moment, something is happening that I'm not ready for. And above all, I'm not ready for surprises. The girl continued to cry, looking at me with the eyes full of anger and resentment. You, it's all your fault! Come on, what are you crying for? I walked up to her hesitatingly and reached out my hand. For a second, the girl made a puzzled face, but then grabbed me and got to her feet with a jerk. Felt ashamed, did you? That's the point. You can't bully the little ones. Ashamed? I repeated my thought far from here. Why? Because of you? Why would I be? But you should! She frowned and ran towards the camp leader's house. To complain, maybe, I don't know. I really don't know. For the first time in a long time, in a long time, something like this has happened. Just a couple of minutes ago, I could say with certainty what each of the pioneers is occupied with at this particular moment. And what now? Foe! It might be far or whatever, but I'm just gonna say it's far because, you know. At dinner, the camp leader approached me. That turned out awkward. She began as she gathered her thoughts. Your parents called me, but you could have behaved more properly. At least introduce yourself for a start. She said as her expression changed. But that's nothing. We'll make a model pioneer of you. Before, I would have told her in detail about both the pioneers and the modeling, but right now, I just had no desire to talk, neither with her nor with anyone else. Alright then, for a start, you should meet your comrades. The camp leader waved her hand, inviting someone to the table, and two girls approached us. Well, enjoy your meal, I have more things to do. She said uncertainly and left the pioneers alone with me. Hey, you're new, right? Do you like music? Join our music club. It's only there right now, though. But it's only me right now, though. But with you there will be two of us. It'll be fun. What do you think? I didn't look at her and continued to eat intently. Leave him alone. Don't you see he's just kind of a lame brain? The first girl was a bit dumb. The second one I would compare to that grumpy cat from on the internet. How about... I've never actually done this before, it just never crossed my mind. Well, if I don't know the future events now, why not give it a try? I silently got up, took the compote glass and poured it on the second pioneer's head. Bon appetit! I summed up this act of vandalism with a stony voice and headed to the exit of the canteen. The girl cried, squealed, wheezed, and even moaned somewhat hoarsely, but didn't try to stop me. Right now, I most wanted to be in some other place, to look at the world from the outside, to observe the suffering of others from the height of my experience. But starting today, those places are no more. At the doors, I bumped into the first girl who I met at the gates, tried to go around her, but received a biting slap in the face. The sound immediately rang through the canteen, its echo bouncing off the ceiling. In the space of a moment, complete silence fell. In less than a second, my hand clenched into a fist, nails digging into the palm, the skin of my knuckles stretching almost to the point of rupturing. I was going to knock this bitch out. Maybe I was late by a fraction of a second between us, as if out of the ground sprang the little pioneer that I threw into the bushes. Her spread her hands sideways protecting her friend with her small body. And that was the end of that. I unclenched my fist, my willpower gone, lowered my head, squeezed past them, and left the canteen. Jesus Christ, I mean, yeah, I get that he's a bit fucked up from, you know, constantly repeating the cycle, but damn. He's a weak Semyon, that's what I'm saying. Did they really turn out to be stronger than me? Why did something like this even happen? Before I would've... Well, I even would. Nothing stopped me so many times. Hitting a girl was nothing. I've done worse things. Looks like this world has changed without informing me. The rings of cigarette smoke were slowly drifting towards Genda. The pack was almost empty already and there was nowhere else to get smokes here. I have to wait another week. Obviously, I could go to the Autistic Brothers, take the bottle of vodka and get drunk. But what would that change? Decisions so complicated now and so simple then. Foe! Did I start to think like that damn loser already? No, never. Got any more? Yet another pioneer girl took a seat next to me. What? I asked uncomprehendingly. She pointed at the cigarette. Smoking is bad for your health. Look who's talking. She grinned. Mine's made of rubber. Wanna try it? No need, I'll take it on trust. I handed a cigarette to her and gave her a light. You did something cool today. Well, she said after the coughing stopped. And the camp leader in her hut, I heard, and at supper, at least I'm not the camp's biggest disgrace now. I looked at her carefully. The pioneer was smoking a cigarette casually and smiling so complacently, as if the whole world had already acknowledged her rightness. And you, I see, are only thinking of yourself. What are you talking about? No. Her expression changed. She even panicked a little and choked on the smoke. But you're right. You were never the worst one here. I'm not sure about myself, though. You're talking so, well, coolly. Now, praise from her was certainly all I needed. Or maybe... Listen. I started smiling one of my studied smiles. While we're at it, do you want to meet me for a drink? So to stay. You got any? The pioneer's eyes flashed. I can always find someone for a good comrade. And then he has sex with Alyssa, because he's a fuckwit. Don't disrespect my favorite girl like that, yo. Although it all started out like in a bad novel that's printed by chapter in a gutted newspaper. It turned out completely different. The memories blended together in a continuous haze of an orange-red tone, like a yellow brick road leading to the Emerald City. Though Dorothy grew up a bit and earns a living by prostitution, because instead of studying diligently, she was all caught up in dreams of a magical land. The cowardly lion got hooked on meth and was shot in a firefight with the police. Now the Tin Man had a pretty good life. He's become a hitman. And the Scarecrow didn't even change at all. He got himself a stable, low-paying job in an office with the convenient working hours from 9 to 6 and an absence of career opportunities. There probably wasn't any magical city ahead in the first place. An endless road with no destination or meaning. You know, at that time he really was talking about something like this. Tried to warn me, at least. I wasn't listening, and as a result, ended up as the only one to get stuck in this damn Mobius strip. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Oh, and we're back up with Xenia. She was sitting nearby and squinting with discontent.
Hey, hello, Earth is calling.
Okay, what's wrong? Like I can't take a moment to think already?
Thought should lead to a result. And what have you got?
Well, what have I got?
A lack of results.
I'm kind of giving her the same voice as Alyssa because she's kind of a bitch. It's very hard. Because she's kind of a bitch and she needs that voice as well. But in this one, she doesn't look like she'd be a bitch. So it's very hard. The lack of results is still a result. Semyon painfully pinched me in the shoulder and moved a meter away. It's very hard to give her a second voice because I forgot. Because I know that I gave Alyssa this voice. And I gave her this one. And then I gave Xenia this one because I'm a big I'm a big bitch. But yeah, which is kind of Alyssa more bitched up. But I don't know. And then she appeared. No, Xenias have always been in Sovyonok. But at that time, I saw my Xenia for the first time. Maybe I don't remember what happened before and what came after that well, but those several days will forever remain in my memory. Okay? I've already realized clearly that this is not my frozen world. Understood that an eternity later I had again, as I had once before, managed to fall into another. Managed, accidentally. As if for a second, the orbits of two planets crossed, and I only had a moment. If I were a second late, they'd fly away from each other forever, getting farther and farther apart with stupendous speed. This world is as lonely and empty as the previous one. But the main thing in it is that it's different. And there are things here unfamiliar to me. Oh, this is really important. It's so important for me. For example, Xenia is not sitting in the library, but on the canteen... Matt Dugas. But on the canteen's porch. After all that's happened, I was just not capable of sarcasm. Hi, I said as I came closer, but still stopping at a safe distance. Xenia raised her eyes to me. Her face showed that she didn't expect me to meet someone here. Hi. Her voice didn't sound like usual. Not that I would have mistaken the librarian's intonation for anything else. That's a different... Decided to get supper earlier? No, When's supper again? She pouted. I think that might be it. I mean, kind of a little bit of a gruff voice. I don't know. What do you mean, when's supper? Her answer left me in a stupor and I broke into a smile, though a chill ran through my body. No, sorry. Of course, I know when supper is. It's just, well... Xenia got completely confused and stared at her feet. It seemed like the last thing she wanted right now was to be here. But she didn't have enough resolve to leave. It was strange, but didn't scare me at all. On the contrary, I was happy because something new beyond the scope of the patent has happened. Are you alright? I asked the stupidest question possible in this situation. What did I ever even expect to hear in return? Yeah, thank you. For what? I don't know. Well, for being worried. Well, a faint tinge of discontent appeared on her face, but disappeared immediately, and Xenia slowly got up. I gotta go. Wait, but weren't you on your way to the canteen? I'll come later. I got things to do. Okay. I'm trying to figure out which voice kinda suits her now, since she's not... She doesn't seem like she'll be a bitch in this one. I didn't stop her, but decided to follow. God knows how long it's been since anything like that happened to me. Only on my first few times here, maybe. Xenia came to the square and quickly went in the direction of the library. She never turned around on the way, so I didn't even have much to hide. When the door shut behind her, I froze in hesitation. So what's next? Should I knock and go in? But what will I tell her? One wouldn't need to be a detective to realize that I've been following her. I was brought out of my thoughts by Electronic, who appeared before me as if out of nowhere. What came with the checklist, brah? Yeah. Just decided to go visit the library. Got it, brah. I won't distract you then. He said and prepared to leave already. Wait. Don't you think that lately Xenia has been, well, Behaving strangely, I guess. Electronic looked at me and was like, "Boy!" Looked at me carefully, appraisingly even. "Did something happen, brah?" "No, nothing." I'm making the red one. Like, unless that was like, that's a bit of a... Because I know it says Pioneer and then Semyon. But I'm trying to make it as if he has a split personality sort of kind of thing, mobile deal thing. It looked as if I was making excuses and had a feeling of personal pettiness enveloped me. Why should I make excuses to him? I'm just asking. What, I can't even ask already? No, of course you can, brah, he said nervously. Maybe she really has been a bit strange, brah. I guess I've noticed something like that in the past couple days, brah. Really? And how did this strangeness manifest itself? I'm not sure, brah. She's just usually more self-confident or something, brah. You think we should talk to her, brah? I was going to say you certainly shouldn't, but restrained myself. Okay, forget it. Maybe she's just in that mood. What mood, brah? No mood. That one. Guess it. Aren't you one of the future scientists? I answered abruptly. Electronic thought for a moment, as if pondering the fate of the world, and then nodded understandingly. Okay, brah. I spread my arms a bit and lowered my head, indicating that if he had no more business with me, then it would be better for him to get back to the building robots. And to do so as soon as possible. Of course, he was a bit slow, but this time he understood me on the first try. When Electronic left, I sat, my back pressed against the tree near the library, in such a way so I couldn't be seen from the windows, and started to think. To be more specific, I tried to think, because there were catastrophically not enough facts for a comprehensive analysis of the situation. When the wallpaper in your room changes from white to black, you can get surprised, scared, assuming that they've been recolored without you knowing. Get angry at the one who did that. But those are all emotions. A fact in that situation would be a note on the table saying something like, "Dear, I thought it would be better to get ready for an eternity beforehand. So I changed the tone of the interior to be a more fitting one." And what did I have in my hands at the moment behind me? A huge number of loops. Now, the librarian's strange behavior and the head uncertainty. Not exactly a solid basis for constructing theories of any kind. Oh, and I was a master of theories, if anything. Though, that was all in the past. Because at some point, I stopped caring completely about why exactly I'm destined to spend an eternity in this camp. Bow again! And whatever I decided, this is not at all like me. I don't think like that and probably never did. It's as if someone put foreign words in my head. Did I stop being myself when it came to an alien world? The grass treacherously rustled under my feet, giving my presence away. I was sneaking up to the library, trying to find out what is happening inside. Xenia was sitting behind a table, staring straight ahead, without even a thought flashed through my head. She looked bewildered, doomed maybe, like someone who was told that they only have a matter of hours to live. I wish I could tell her that everything's alright and in 5 days it'll all repeat again and then again. But how could this even be alright? It's like telling a sick man that he'll die in 5 days' time, but he shouldn't worry because in 7 days after that he'll die again. About 10 minutes had passed, but Xenia never moved. Sometimes it even seemed to me like she wasn't breathing. Now I began to realize with certainty that this is not just strange. This is it. This is the thing that threw me into this new world. I just had to decide what to start with. I could ask her head on, tell her my story. Oh, here you are. The camp leader was standing behind me. I turned around abruptly and said irritably, "What do you want?" Like always, like I was used to it. "What are you dithering here for? Forgot that you need to get a signature in the library too." The camp leader seemed not to pay attention to my words and tone. Not like usual, but like some time long ago. Although with memories of my first appearance in this camp came the long-forgotten images of the local inhabitants. Those I had deemed to be people at the time, not just decorations. It's just, you see...
I don't even want to hear it. Get it all signed before dinner.
Of course, I was just going to see...
Then go!
Olga followed me to the door with her eyes, so I didn't even have to choose what to do next. The camp leader helped. The library smelled like book dust, old Soviet furniture, and a little bit of damp. Xenia was sitting and paying no attention to me and seemed to only come to her senses when I closed the door. Hi again, I started hesitantly. After all, I was used to a certain behavior and communication pattern with the camp leaders and inhabitants. Well, with the camp's inhabitants. It was hard to change my ways. And this camp leader didn't let me get ready either. I wish I'd strangled her with her Panama as always. Xenia didn't answer, but kept looking at me cautiously. I kind of came to get the checklist signed. Okay, give it here, she answered unemotionally. I started to fumble in my pockets and then realized, no, there was totally something wrong happening with me. I should have gotten used to everything after all this time, and I'm behaving like a first grader. More specifically, like a first sessioner in the terms of this world. I think I lost it, I said, making an upset face. That's too bad, she replied in the same dry and uninterested voice. I froze in some kind of superposition. If I turn around and leave now, then what? But that moment, determination came from who knows where. Can I ask you a question? What question? And really, what? Don't you think they've been undersalting the food in the canteen lately? The nights have gotten pretty cold, right? Oh, by the way, do you know that I'm an alien from the future? Are you alright? Lately it seems like you're upset with something. Xenia's face showed a glimpse of interest. But we don't know each other. Yeah, sure. It's just that I saw you yesterday and thought... I was getting more and more entangled in lies. The inability to tell the truth was driving me ever further into autism and reducing my vocabulary. I saw you running through the camp yesterday too, but we still don't know each other. No, we don't, but I was told about you by Slavia. Yeah. You're roommates with her, right? And what did she tell you? Little by little, Xenia was starting to emerge from her contemplative condition. Nothing. I let out a helpless sigh and heavily sank into the chair near the door. Outside the window, the many-voiced birds were singing their songs. The crickets were chattering, somewhere water was splashing, and from far away was the perky sound of children laughing. But all of that was there, beyond the walls of the library. Inside of here are only the two of us, me and Xenia. Or to be more precise, a girl who looks like Xenia. There was no fear, but rather wonder. Let's assume that I'm not me. Who are you then? For a second I even felt insulted that she didn't know who I am. Why me? Oh, that me? That one? Yes! Yes, that guy. Pioneers of many worlds have told legends about me. But this specific Xenia in this specific world seemed to not give a damn about who I am and what am I doing here. And our conversation that seemed to have started to interest her has turned into useless chatter. Who do I look like? Xenia swept her eyes over me. A pioneer? Yeah, sure. Pioneer. That's logical. Nice joke. I grinned strenuously. I wasn't joking. It's just that I look like myself, and you don't. I don't look like myself? You don't look like yourself. God! The final assault has begun. In what sense? She marveled. In the sense that you're not Xenia. No, I mean you're not the local librarian. Who am I then? She moved her eyes to the side as if looking for something on the bookshelves. I don't know, that's why I'm asking. This is another joke. Joke? Well, you know, everyone knows already. She got embarrassed and blushed. No, I don't. With the thumbtack on my chair. I left to get a book, and while I was looking for it, Alyssa. Xenia stared down onto the floor, tears filling her eyes. No, I haven't heard anything like that. Though if you think about it, something like that was happening in the previous times Alyssa decided to play a prank. It's just that I paid absolutely no attention to it then. And Xenia reacted differently too, I think. Alyssa. Get off me! The Pioneer girl mumbled while unbuttoning her shirt, her tongue barely moving. The Cybernetics Club was bathed in the bright moonlight. On the table was lying an empty bottle with a toddy lake of vodka spilling around it. My cheek was burning, and my head was spinning so hard. I couldn't even understand why exactly, but hardly because of the alcohol alone. If you thought them like that, then you can go to hell! The girl's fingers weren't listening to her, but the button was jumping back and forth, but refused to go to its prescribed place. Yeah? Lost my temper, grabbed the Pioneer by the hands, pressed her against the table, and tore her shirt wide open with my teeth. This is uncomfortable. Like what then? Like what are you then? I'm asking you. That's not a rhetorical question. Answer me. I didn't want to change anything. It all suited me. I was living my accustomed life in my accustomed world, doing what I wanted. Why the hell would I need this novelty? You want this, I know. To go spill vodka with a stranger 5 minutes after you meet him? Not like that, are you? To hell with all of you, make everything how it was. I was losing my control over myself. The situation, the world itself. Let go, it hurts! The girl was crying. But I was holding her firmly, and in a minute she went limp and closed her eyes with occasional hot and salty tears falling from them. Now, see, that's much better. I was roughly feeling her up everywhere, breathing rapidly and loudly at that. Because you are mine. Because you are all mine here. This world is mine. That girl wasn't resisting, and I suddenly lost interest and even felt disgust. I don't need you. There are better ones here. I let her go and slid onto the floor, exhausted. Pioneer didn't move, only continued to sob quietly. I can have any girl here. And any. You hear me? And then I'll take that meat cleaver, and you think that it didn't happen before? I was shouting. You think you can tell me what to do? This is my world. You hear me? Mine. You all don't exist. I'm talking to myself. Stop whining. I lost the last bits of control over myself, jumped up and leaned all my weight on the girl. She seemed to be close to fainting already. Bent forward and whispered into her ear. You know what I've been doing with you so many times. Want to listen? Oh no, listen now and I'll tell you. Suddenly I panicked. It has been an infinity long time since the very beginning, but every second of it I've been living was aware of myself as a person, was controlling a situation in this world, and many times before. And for the first time, I got a feeling that I'm disappearing, that in a moment's time, I'll be gone. And how can that be? It's me. Don't you see? Don't you remember? You're a weakling. The girl's whisper reached me as if from another world. A pathetic weakling, a nobody. I would feel pity, but you can't pity an empty place. I jumped back from her in terror. On the Pioneer's face was frozen a grimace of disgust, the tears disappearing as if they've never been there. She got up from the table, took a couple steps towards me, and stopped. Oh, so it is getting different. Why are you telling me all this? Xenia asked lazily, turning a page. Ripples were running across the water above us, were swaying the leaves of a birch with bright beams of the tiring midday sun shining through them. The birds were singing loudly in the grove, and the small bugs hiding in the tall grass were busily jumping on my legs. Well, why are you reading that book? Don't tell me that's the first time. I like it, see? You like to narrate, and I like to read. On the other shore, on the beach, pioneers were frolicking. Olga was running after Olyana, and in the middle of the river I was distinguished Slavia's I distinguished Saja's gold-colored hair. Could she be swimming here? So what? Oh, that was her. Huh. What? What happened next? I thought you weren't interested. You are, though. Xenia smiled. She spat in my face and walked outside, shutting the door loudly after herself. And I was left standing there. What? Is this it? The end? At some point I was waiting for it. Maybe even with impatience. But it was so long ago that already I don't even remember. And what now? These dolls, these soulless dolls, destroyed my world that I've been building my whole life. It's just like that. In one day's time, I ran my hand over my cheek and saw my fingers covered with something wet. And I'd long descended upon the camp, hiding the local pioneers under its covers, hiding their malice and willness. And I was just sitting in a cybernetics club, my arms folded around my knees, slowly rocking from side to side. Maybe the pioneer girl will come back now. After all, she could humiliate me more strongly. Or even do something worse. But time was passing by, and it was only the singing of the night birds and chirping of the crickets getting quieter. And dawn is near too. The camp will wake up and then start living its life that had suddenly become so unfamiliar to me. Well, whatever, to hell with it. I got on my feet with some difficulty and looked at the empty bottle of vodka lying on the table. It would be nice to pass out now and wake up tomorrow as if nothing happened. Forget about today, appear in a world I'm used to, where the pioneer's behavior is familiar and predictable. It all started with that little girl. She never cried before. Or maybe she did and I just never paid attention. Even if that's true, so what? What? Becoming a weakling? Feel sorry for that little shit? Go down to their level even? No, I have to pull myself together. I left the cybernetics club, slamming the door loudly and breathed in the fresh night air. Strange. It didn't feel as artificial as usual. So where should I go? I guess catching up to that pioneer girl and getting revenge for the spit in the face would be worth it. I would have never forgiven such an insult before, and I won't forgive it now. There wasn't a single living soul in the square aside from a pioneer sitting on the bench. I paid no attention to him at first. Who knows how many retards dwell here, but he called out to me. Hey, Semyon! Who the hell are you calling Semyon, damn you? I hissed under my breath. But the pioneer wasn't calming down. He must be looking for someone, but she didn't go that way. I froze in place, but immediately turned around and quickly walked up to him. So you saw her? Of course I did. A disgusting smile appeared on his face, a grin, even a savage one, expressing only one superiority over their opponent. Spill it out then. We're not playing a guessing game here. Wait, what are you in such a rush for? Sit down, let's talk calmly for a start. I have nothing to talk to you about. The pioneer thought for a moment, then rummaged in the pockets of his shorts, took out a pack of Cosmos, and held it out to me. Want some? This. Where did you get it? I don't remember regular pioneers having cigarettes. Although so much has happened in the last 24 hours, that's never happened before. I slowly drew out one cigarette and gave the pack back to the strange pioneer. He turned it around in his hands for a while and then tossed it back to me. Nah, take it. I quit. And that filthy smile again. To hell with it. I need to go catch that insolent bitch. So, tell me where she went. Why do you need that poor girl? She's insignificantly small on the scale of the universe. Maybe doesn't even exist in this one. He thought for a moment, then continued. Same goes for you. Are you sure you exist? And even so, that your existence here and now is the real one? Maybe you really existed before and now you don't. Or you will exist in the future. And at that moment it's just a doll standing before me. The word doll fired painfully in my head, as if a .45 caliber Colt blew my brains out, splattering the contents of the brain pan over the area. Yeah, and it's Slavier's turn to clean tomorrow. I involuntarily smirked inside. Who are you? The insolent girl that spat in my face had long flown out of my head together with my brain. Who are you? I'm asking you. I grabbed him by the neckerchief and jerked him towards me with such strength that damn red rag groaned and almost tore. But the pioneer only smiled. Calm down. Don't worry that much. It's impossible to die here. You should know. You've done that hundreds of times. I jumped back from him in terror. This phrase, I've certainly heard it before. No, not even that. I've been saying it myself. A long time ago, one of my previous lives. Because you are Semyon, and I'm Semyon, because you are me. The bench and the pioneer abruptly zoomed 100 meters away from me, as if I was falling from a roller coaster, only his disgusting grin remaining before my eyes. And then the world around was covered in darkness. Well, and then I disappeared.
Just like that?
Xenia kept her eyes fixed on the book, but the story seemed to start to interest her. Why not? The timely departure is a great skill. You know, and I'm a master of it if anything.
Yeah, you're a master of everything.
She put the book down and hugged me. Slavia, who was clearly swimming in our direction, seemed to notice it and turned around towards the beach. Wait, I didn't even get to the main part. And not here, after all. I shyly turned away from her. Xenia clearly didn't like that and moved away from me. I'm tired of these stories of yours. You always all want in the same. Let me tell you mine for a change. What about, I wonder? Like how it got here, for example? I've heard it 100 times already. And I've heard yours 200. For Xenia, Sovyonok didn't start without meeting in the checklist. Because I always have and will have my first day of the session after she has already spent a week in the camp.
Do you know that feeling when the time has stopped? When you can't die? Even if you really want to?
Well, yeah, like here, in this camp.
No, it was always easier for me here. People behave more honestly, properly. No one really bullies anyone. There's none of that. At the very least. That malice that was everywhere and then before, do you remember?
I didn't answer.
I can just read books, talk to people. Someone needs me, someone considers me a friend, I have responsibilities.
It seemed like Xenia was ready to burst into tears.
Alright, what am I getting? Anyway, this one time I just woke up because of the excessive shaking of the 410 bus. Have you ever taken that bus?
I nodded.
Well, I never did. We don't even have bus routes with 3 digits in our town. I didn't really understand what had happened yet, and the girl sitting near me says, hi. Says to me, hi, my name's Slavia.
Slavia? What Slavia? Slavia who?
Of course, I was confused, but I tried not to show it. Then we arrived at the camp, and the thing started to get stirred up.
And then it happened again?
And then again.
Bruh, she's the same! Fucking what? That's fucking dope, yo!
Xenia sighed. And I've seen you many times. Yugoslavia, Alyssa, Lena. She quietly gritted her teeth.
That wasn't me. I've been over that 100 times already. And now you're starting again.
You, not you. You're like peas in a pod. I was in your camps too, right? But she was not like all the other, at all like the real me.
Exactly. Distinguishing the original from the fake is not as hard as you think.
Yes, because the fakes get renewed every time in the original stay.
It's not like that at all.
As if you know everything.
What does it matter? I hugged Xenia tight and closed my eyes. So was she kind of birthed into it after a while, or was she already just like Semyon? Or were all the girls just like Semyon? Because they were saying before that they all had that dream in the pioneer camp, and none of them went. Neither did Semyon. So, wow, this is really confusing. This is really confusing. I woke up covered in sweat, my heart beating like mad. The rising sun was unbearably hot. It was no later than 6 or 7 a.m. by the looks of it. What the hell happened to me? The sinister pioneer, what was that? Maybe it was just a dream, a hallucination. Right now I'm ready to believe in that. In anything at all. Someone was slowly walking towards me across from the square. I stared and recognized the camp leader. "So you're at it again," she said threateningly, leaning over me. That made me get up from the bench and make a step back. "And here I thought yesterday was just a misunderstanding, and I'm just speechless. To do something like that to a girl?" What is she even talking about? What girl? What does she need from me, damn it? At least the camp leader looked like usual, then that calmed me down a bit. "So answer me now. You think you'll just get away with it this time? I'll call the police. I'll even take it to the secretary of the All-Union Cosmomol organization." She was puffing so much she even went red and started to pant. "In my camp, you..." In general, this behavior from the camp leader didn't surprise me one bit, but I felt uneasy because my mind was still returning to the events of the past night, leaving a depressing, painful feeling close to embarrassment about something done while in a drunken haze. The strangest thing was that I didn't care about the camp leader shouting aloud a mere meter away from me. "Shut up already, okay? Shouting like there's a fire. What do you even know about problems? You think you got a problem here? Ho ho! The pioneer was almost raped. What a disaster!" I gritted my teeth and cast a menacing look at the camp leader that sent a flicker of fear across her face. "How about I tell you the real problems? Not those in your little imaginary world. Though, just go to hell. You're just a waste of time." On the other hand, I always have more than enough of that time. A fretful thought suddenly flashed through my head. What if everything will always be like this now? What if I lose control over this world forever? Any pioneer girl will be able to spit in my face and at will, and the camp leader will get to lecture me like electronic. That's worse than death. Anyway, I gotta go. I flung at the camp leader, who still hadn't recovered from the shock, and went wherever my legs would carry me. But really, what is death for me personally? It seems like I've long since ceased to understand the very concept of the idea. Because if I can't disappear, if I'm destined to live through the very same week in this damn camp time and time again, then maybe death is losing myself. Losing my power over the world, having uncertainty ahead. But that's even worse than the fate of any regular human. Their life is a game with an unhappy ending, with no ability to save your progress. My life is a game with no ending, with the ability to save. What would they call such a life? If only I could remember how is it to be a regular man? I have to sneeze. Remember, kiddos, sneeze away from yourself. Prevent the spread. I mean, sneeze away from other people. They'll probably call this hell. In this particular cycle, where even the soulless dolls humiliate me, it's the last circle. I was ready to lose my mind if I only could. All the thoughts I'd been diligently driving away from myself suddenly surged with a new strength, returning long-forgotten feelings. And who turned out to be right in the end? I was always convincing myself that I am right, not them, because I am alive, and they disappeared while chasing empty illusions. But they disappeared and I stayed. And who got the better part of it in the end? An already familiar snicker sounded nearby. Looks like you've understood something today. I know who you are. My voice sounded calm, but the heart was beating madly like never before. Oh really? It'd be interesting to hear. You're the same as me, a pioneer, but from another cycle. But didn't you always think that the others were no more after Semyon drove off on the bus that time? You thought that you were alone now, in all these endless camps. I could be wrong. As hard as it was for me to admit it, that possibility existed. You wrong? Why? That cannot be. Whatever, what do you need? Did you just come to mock me for what I've been doing? You're saying that as if you feel guilty. I don't feel guilty. And anyway, that's none of your business, just answer the question. Well, maybe you are right. The pioneer thought for a moment. Though it's a sin to laugh at the miserable, I suddenly felt a distinct desire to punch the disgusting smile off his face. After all, am I a trembling creature, or do I have the right? Who allowed him to impose his ways in my world? Get lost! I shouted, jumped up, and swung my fist at him as hard as I could, but my hand just flew through a haze that disappeared in the air and I lost my balance, painfully falling to the ground. When the pain abated a bit, I felt as if someone was standing nearby. And indeed, from the bushes was peeping a sassy little pioneer girl. You got what you deserved. She stuck her tongue out. Guess you're not as brave as your peers. Whoa, you. It was so unexpected that I even forgot what I wanted to say. Doesn't it surprise you at all that a man just dissolved into thin air right in front of you? Well, things happen. Maybe it's some trick. Doesn't matter anyways. You got what you had coming. Not wanting to put up with these insults any longer, I abruptly jumped up and rushed at her. But the girl was skillfully running through the trees while I had to spend precious seconds dodging the branches that slashed my face, hillocks sticking out, as well as invisible gullies. Earning a couple bumps and scratches on my blade hands, I finally caught up to her at square. Well, not so fast after all, are you? That's not as easy as running from some half-wits. Let me go, get off! The pioneer girl was crying. Suddenly I felt a strong blow to my back. Everything swam before my eyes, and the ground came at me with tremendous speed. So you're into children too. That's it, get him! Blow to the belly. I instinctively covered my head with my arms.
Not so cool now, are you?
Another hit. At that point I was ready to lose consciousness, but gathering the last bits of strength, I raised myself onto my elbows and rolled several meters to the side. Blood was flowing into my eyes, turning the crowd of pioneers beating me up into a continuous red haze. This is of course not the best educational method, but quite an effective one, I think. From who the hell knows where came the camp leader's voice. What are you doing? Enough! So he was basically beaten into submission. Did you read Don Quixote? Xenia was sitting near me, merrily swinging her feet. Yeah, but I hardly remember what it was about now. Windmills! All of your stories are like fights with windmills. What? Mills? Please. And even if there is no mill, you will surely build one because you have to fight something. You're saying that as if I'm some kind of masochist, aren't you? She smiled slyly. Xenia, what would I do without her? Sometimes I thought that everything that's happened with me in this camp wasn't that bad. If this reward was waiting for me at the end. I pulled her to myself and kissed her. Wait, what are you? What if someone sees? Xenia blushed and resisted, but more for show if anything. It doesn't concern you often. No, but... Anyway, where was I? The windmills? Yeah, I mean, that you still can't settle down. Like if you had ridden that bus that time, like all the normal people. And wouldn't have met you. As if you'd been meeting me before. Always Slavia, Alyssa, Lena. She griped. See, that means I've done everything right. Tell with you, alpha male of Harem, my foot. Let's stop talking about the past. We've got a whole life ahead of us. So he was brought out to the glade. That's a different one. I don't think that's Lena. Oh, it might be.
Hey, you alive?
I think that might be. Cold water splashed on my face, and with difficulty, I managed to open my bunged up eye. Oh no, it wasn't. Over me was leaning a pioneer. You again. What? They didn't finish me off and you decided to help? Well, go ahead then. Get on with it. Somewhere deep inside, I was happy for such a turn of events. Finally, this broken, vicious circle will be torn apart. No, you don't understand. I'm not him. Who are you then? I didn't care already. It would be so nice to die now, end this loop and go on to another new one. I guess never before did I want so hard for the endless cycles of my life to continue. The only important thing is for them to obey the long-established rules. Don't you understand? The pioneer said with anguish. No, 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 I don't play these games with anyone. Really? Did they decide to place me in the shoes of that idiot? Is this some kind of game and I'm a green noob for them? Not on my server. And anyway, I don't care. Tried to get up, but the pain made me just moan and lean against the nearby trunk. Although if I'll have to spend 5.5 more days in this damn loop, I'll obviously have to make certain compromises. Okay, I don't care who you are or why you're here. But if you really want to help, I won't refuse. If he really is the one he wants to look like, then I can't expect help from him. Yeah, of course. Bring me something to drink then. Pioneer quickly jumped up and disappeared behind the trees. Did he run to the canteen? What a dumbass. Time was dragging treacherously slow. I lost the phone, either during the fight, or even before that, so I couldn't tell how much time passed since the moment that pioneer ran for the water. But in any case, he should have been back already. My injuries were hurting unbearably. It seemed like I was starting to get a fever. Could that be an infection? I could simply die. They could at least have beaten me to death. But no, I have to lie here and wait for the end in agony. Just you wait. Next time I'll show you all. The fear of death ceased to exist for me simply because one can only fear something that scares him. In my case, death would be a salvation. Though I could hardly believe that. More likely, the next time everything will repeat itself, which means I'll have to struggle. Have to fight for myself, for my life. Same as the first times. To do everything to not become a whiner and a snot-nose like that one. Barely managing to get up on my feet, I stumbled towards the camp. It was getting dark. I should have probably asked that pioneer what happened after I lost consciousness during the beating at the square. Maybe they're looking for me. Or they think I'm already dead. In any case, I should be careful. Right now, the various skills obtained during the time spent in all these endless loops would be useful. But on one hand, a one-legged cripple hardly makes a good fighter. At first glance, the square looked empty. No pioneers, no birds, none of the squirrels that plentifully inhabited the forest around the camp. Ooh, almost fell over. And the air was ringing with a dangerous silence, like the lull before a fight, or like a minefield bypassed by both people and beasts. Take a step and you'll be blown to pieces. Oh man! Oh, I don't know what it is, but talking a lot makes me very, very much yawn a lot. A hell of a lot, actually. If only it was really so easy. But I can't understand. I can't just stand and wait. I have to get to the infirmary, wash and bandage my wounds, drink a painkiller and antibiotics. The first steps to the square were difficult to take, more because of the oppressive tension than my battle wounds. I somehow dragged myself to the end of it, walked along the narrow pathway, reached the infirmary, and had already started to mess with the lock when I suddenly heard a familiar rustle in the bushes nearby. Certainly that is not a beast or a bird, that's a human. Though I understood well that the rampaging pioneers won't hide themselves, they act openly now. I don't know who's hiding there, but you better get out or else. Or else what? In this condition I can hardly even pose more of a threat than that arrogant little girl.
It's just me.
The shy pioneer almost whispered, coming out of her cover. Oh, it's you, I asked sarcastically. Alone? Where are the others? Oh yes, you alone would be sufficient.
No, I can go if I'm disturbing you.
Stay, things can't get any worse anyway. I was vainly messing with the lock. Of course, it wasn't hard for me to pick it with even a toothpick or a match. But for that, I just needed healthy fingers, while mine were all covered with hematomas and bruises. They were every second joint dislocated. The almost complicated action I am capable of now is holding a pioneer flag and idly swinging it over my head. Dumb pastime on its own, but local pioneers can make me do worse.
Maybe I can help.
How? With moral support?
I've gotta...
She stopped mid-sentence and held out a bunch of keys to me. How? Yes, I didn't expect something like this, but wasn't really surprised. I had other things on my mind.
I took them from Slavia.
Just like that? You want to tell me she gave them to you without even asking why you needed them?
Well, I said I don't feel well and didn't want to bother her, so I could go to the infirmary by myself.
Yeah. Great pretext. Slyness, archness, and pretense. They say that behind every strong man stands a strong woman. I remembered about the second pack of Cosmos that the Pioneer gifted to me. The cigarettes turned out to be considerably crumpled, but I still managed to find a couple of intact ones. Okay, the keys will be really useful. I was smart of you.
Thank you.
The girl smiled almost unnoticeably. What if she really isn't hiding a knife behind her back? Where are these thoughts even coming from, though? The presumption of innocence had never worked in this world so far, and especially now deeming everyone around to be hostile a priori would be the most correct thing to do. I carefully looked the girl up and down.
What? Is there something wrong with me?
I just don't even know. You better tell me, is everything right with you or not?
I don't understand you.
Pioneer girl was clearly embarrassed and upset. Oh well. Well, she's at least pretending to be good. I should use it. It'll be hard to bandage all my wounds by myself, with unbending arms. Don't mind it, if you really want to help. The infirmary was brightly illuminated by the fluorescent lamps hanging from the ceiling. With some difficulty, I clambered onto the couch and tried to take my shirt off.
Let me help.
Okay, go on. On the right and the left sides around my belly were reddening, terrible-looking patches of bruises. I must have broken several ribs, or maybe it's the other way around, and only a few of them remained unbroken. Every movement echoed with pain inside. Can you be more careful?
Sorry.
The Pioneer started to undress me, zealously even. Finally, I was left in only my shorts.
Wait. We have to wipe the wounds with iodine to disinfect them.
Yeah, sure. So it'd look like a brown bear? No thanks. Let's do it with hydrogen peroxide. It's in the desk drawer. Pioneer didn't argue. Though hydrogen peroxide or iodine, it still stings the same. I had to make an inhuman effort to not shout out loud.
Does it hurt?
What do you think? I hissed through my clenched teeth. And the Pioneer started to bandage me. Every time she had to grab the bondage on the other side. Bandage, not bondage, bandage. She was almost pressing herself against me.
Here.
Lena said with the feeling of duty well done. She's overacting. The thought flashed in my head. Yeah, that's better. Not that I really felt better, rather I was just more certain that I will be almost healed no later than tomorrow. But that will be for tomorrow. I tried to get up and walk to the drug cabinet, but my head suddenly started spinning, and I just sat on the couch again. Give me an organ, well that... Did I really forget the contents of the local medicine chest? I raised my hand to my forehead, it was hot. Something for the tetanus, I don't know. It's written there in the instructions. The girl bustled about and soon returned with a pile of multicolored pills. What's that?
Like you asked.
I was taking a risk, of course, but it clearly couldn't get any worse. And water to wash it down. I swallowed the pills and barely managed to stretch myself out on the couch. The pioneer girl sat on the chair nearby and started to look at me patiently. What does she need after all? The suspense was tiring. I just wanted to sleep, to drift off and forget about this mad world for at least some time. Or better yet, wake up in another one. Let them end what they've begun and finish me off. Or this shy girl. How long are you planning on sitting there?
If I'm disturbing you, I can leave.
No, you're not. Suddenly in my head appeared a wild but not senseless idea. You can even help. The girl gave me an inquiring look. Take that jar, see? I barely raised a hand and pointed at the needed medicine. Now draw a full syringe from it.
You mean you're serious about it?
Xenia's face was burning and her voice sounded not even surprised. Scared. Quite.
No, you must be really out of your mind.
What's the big deal? Even in the worst case, the new loop is in a couple of days and no one will even remember about it.
I will, that's enough already.
So your answer is no?
My answer is stop bullying me.
She tried to get up, but I firmly caught her by the hands.
Hey!
Instead of trying to break free, Xenia laughed and pressed herself against me.
Are you really not joking? What if we do get out of here after all?
You haven't talked about that for a while.
I haven't, but I am now. If in the real world you expect to just forget and pretend you haven't said anything now, then...
No, both here and in the real world, my words are sincere.
Even so, it's just hard to believe so suddenly.
What's sudden about it? How long have we known each other? I've long since lost count of the loops.
I'm still counting though.
Xenia said quietly and hugged me even tighter.
Shit, this is getting intense. So does he die? In this one?
The girl obediently filled the syringe with the colorless, transparent liquid and handed it to me. No, when did you ever see a patient giving himself injections?
But I don't know how to...
There's nothing difficult about it. It's just that for me in this world, there was still the one and only taboo. Suicide. I was ready and even wanted to die at the hands of mad pioneers or a lethal injection, but ending my own life? For some reason it seemed that I shouldn't. I couldn't even explain why and never tried to check. Maybe it was all because of that fear of uncertainty that had possessed me in the past 24 hours. Or maybe it's all much simpler and the reason is a simple self-preservation instinct. Regardless, I was sure that if I'm not killed by someone else, I'll immediately wake up in a new loop. But ready for everything now. The only problem was that the fact that that girl clearly wasn't going to help me with my voluntary quietus.
No, What if I do something wrong? It's better to call the nurse. I'll go. I'll be back soon.
The nurse was the last thing I damn well needed here right now. Wait. I barely raised myself up on an elbow and grabbed her by the hand. Don't you worry. I've done it hundreds of times and I'll teach you too. There's nothing difficult about it. The girl wavered. First take the tourniquet. Wait. What? Why would she need a tourniquet? It's used when taking blood. Okay, don't take the tourniquet. The pioneer girl laid the tourniquet on the table near me. and moved my left hand to the side to make it more conventional for her.
Maybe we shouldn't after all.
I won't even feel anything. Her hands were shaking, the needle jumping left and right. What if she misses the vein? It won't be pretty. Euthanasia, though, the drugs from a Soviet medical kit is a precarious pleasure as is.
Don't look at me like that.
The girl suddenly said. Looking at you, how? Don't get distracted.
I can't do it like this.
Oh, here we go. I made a helpless sigh and jerked my hand away from her. Oh, God. Okay, forget it. I'll just sleep and be alright tomorrow. Don't forget to turn the lights off and close the door when you leave. The girl obediently headed towards the exit but froze halfway.
Are you really in a lot of pain?
I really am. What does it matter now? I'll just endure it.
I could do it, only if you close your eyes.
So if I close them, what will change?
It'll be easier for me, like you're sleeping.
Her eyes smiled. Okay, I'll close them. Doesn't seem to be anything scary. The girl walked up to me and took the syringe.
So?
Yeah. I closed my eyes and at the same second a thought flashed through my brain. Why am I even trusting her so blindly? Just half an hour ago, when standing on the porch, I was thinking very differently. Something pressed me to the crotch with the strength that made me unable to move my arms or legs. This bitch. He should have known! The pioneer girl with the tourniquet in her hands leaned over me. A second later, it tightened around my neck. What are you? I wheezed. Even if this is the death I was urging for, it shouldn't be like this. Not being strangled with a tourniquet. No, wait, I'm not ready. The pioneer was pulling even harder, and mad grimace on her face, mouth grinning a devilish smile, sunken eyes open wide, and even seeming to glow with some unnatural light. I vainly tried to break free. The injuries and fatigue didn't let me. Here comes the anaxemia. Everything's getting blurry in front of my eyes. I close them, but the imprint of that crazy grimace is still left on the inner side of my eyelids. At the edge of my mind, I hear the creak of the door opening. The devilish pioneer loosens her grip, and in the face of another girl is already leaning over me. Let's go now! A familiar voice whispers to me. Someone help me get up. I leaned on them and stumbled away from the infirmary. Slavia helped? Even though this dude was a dick? So, we were going slowly, often stumbling and bumping into everything. I was passing out and coming to all the time, but just couldn't raise my head and was only looking at my feet. The paving stone in front of the infirmary gave way to the asphalt of the square and then it to the earth covered by fallen leaves and fir needles. At last we stopped, and with difficulty I sank to the ground and looked around. Seems like the same clearing the pioneer dragged me to. I'm walking in some hellish circles today. Tried to smirk but coughed immediately. The back of my hand got covered in blood. Here, drink. The girl handed me a cold flask. I barely took several gulps and looked at my savior. She seemed to be the same familiar girl, but something was out of tune with her usual image. After all, a smile suited this pioneer girl more than the expression of cold determination that was frozen on her face. I didn't even really know what to say. I've already been mistaken once about the maniac in the infirmary, and let myself relax for a second. Now, I'm going to have to be wary till the end this time. Though the unbearable pain in my whole body and my spinning head didn't let me concentrate even for a moment. What's this about? What's this all?
Shh. No need to talk. You'll get worse. I know it all.
The girl said and looked at me carefully, if, contrary to her own words, she was waiting for me to answer.
I know everything about you. I'm actually also real.
I'm doing her voice wrong. How the damn hell are you real? We already met yesterday. I haven't noticed anything real about you. I coughed up blood again. Is this one of your jokes again? I continued quieter. You can't just kill me. You can't, right? You have to torture to mock me, want me to go mad? And then I realized that all of this has already happened once. Though now our roles was swapped.
No, it's not like that at all. You got it wrong. You weren't talking to me yesterday. Oh, why am I explaining? It's like you don't understand yourself.
The pioneer girl frowned.
Didn't you ever meet your own copies?
There was definitely logic in her words that I couldn't find a flaw in right away. Well, maybe. And why do you need all this to help me, I mean?
Because you're the same as me. Real. Isn't it natural? Wouldn't you do the same in my place?
If only she'd knew what I've done before. But what if she isn't lying? After all, I did meet people other than me in this world before. Thanks. If so. The girl didn't answer anything, only smiled. Well, I still don't understand I mean, I've met you 1,000 times before, and all of them were bots.
It's hard to explain, and there's no time now.
No time? Are you in a hurry for something?
Not only me, soon we'll all escape here.
You mean from this loop to a new one?
No, I mean from the camp for good.
What do you mean? I broke into a dumb smile. The very thought of there being an exit from this place had seemed absurd to me for a long time now.
Don't tell me you want to stay here forever.
Well, I've kind of been here forever already.
I propose you reject, okay?
No, wait, you just got me wrong. Though why wrong, actually? Am I really ready to go back to the real world? It's alien and hostile to me now, as this camp has become my home. But that home lies in ruins, robbed and burnt. Will I be able to build it anew?
Yeah. And so, what do you want then?
Okay, but how? You don't propose I just take your word for it, right? If you really understand my situation, you won't refuse to explain.
Fine. But now, we have to make sure that there's no pursuit.
Wait. The pioneer wasn't listening to me, and a second later she disappeared in the vivid greenery. Just wonderful.
But I can't sew.
What a pity. A serious oversight on a housekeeper's side.
Oh, look who's talking. What are you going to make the new rings from? Are you maybe planning on just reeling the wire of the induction coil around your finger?
I've got a couple of ideas.
Well, I'm listening.
Semyon looked at me carefully and smiled, anticipating my failure. However, even before I met her, I had acquired some very difficult skills in crafting together a couple of rings. Wouldn't be very hard for me. The only question is the equipment. You can't find a jeweler's instruments in a camp. So I simply wouldn't have had time to prepare everything in a mere week. If not for the Cybernetics Club. If you rummage through the bulk of the equipment stored there, you could definitely find enough gilding for 2 simple rings. And keeping the local cybernetics occupied with something for a couple of days will certainly not be a problem, especially considering it's not the first time for me. That's a surprise.
Even so,
Semyon got embarrassed.
In a week's time, they'll disappear. And you know we won't be able to take anything with us.
So what? What's more important to you, 2 pieces of metal or...
No, of course not.
But if we're going to do it the way it should be, then the dress too. Xenia's eyes sparkled. Though no problems with the suit. I knew for sure that several guys in the camp have pants and jackets. And a jacket. Maybe even a dark gray color. The summer dress would look good on Xenia, but the wedding dress was her idea in the end.
Okay, so now they're getting married? Is this his way out?
Which she predictably rejected right away. You're silly.
Are you serious?
Looks like she got tired of arguing already. No, but you can always ask one of the girls. I think that's the best option. Xenia grew red, pouted, and turned away.
Then go and ask them yourself and take measurements of yourself because you'll be the only one wearing it. How do you even imagine I could do that? I'll just walk up to, say, Slavia and ask her, could you please sew a wedding dress for me?
How about you say that it's for a costume contest? No, that's kind of silly. For a costume ball. Xenia was surprised but didn't start arguing right away. I'll get the idea through the camp leader, don't worry. And there'll be nothing to be shy about. A wedding as a part of the performance. We'll make sure it can electronic perform man's first walk in outer space. Miku will cosplay Landon on an armored car. And me, you will marry.
And what historical event do you want to make this reenactment of?
God, what does it matter? Could even be the marriage of Ekaterina II and Peter III.
Oh, what an uninviable fate is waiting for you then, darling.
Xenia smirked. No matter, it's just an example. See, you're joking already. Still, that somehow. Trust me.
Okay, I think it'll all work out.
This is interesting. This is different. So yeah, this is the bad Semyon story. So he would have disappeared from the bus as well, like in the Cat Girl Good ending with Yulia. It started to dawn. The fever made its presence known and seemed to get even stronger. Apparently, the real pioneer girl got lost somewhere in the forest. Looks like I've been ditched again. Though I wasn't too hopeful this time. I just wanted to get everything back the way it was. Now come back to reality. Maybe it's only been an hour on the side, maybe centuries, it doesn't matter anymore. I felt like a comatose man who wakes up and can't recognize the world around him. The horizon was burning with a bright scarlet glow, showering the sky with a flaming aurora. What if it wasn't just the inhabitants that changed in this world? In a mere few minutes, the beams of the blazing sun will get here and burn me up, together with this whole damn Sovyonok. I wish the real pioneer girl would come back. It's better to settle in a new world than burn alive in a familiar one. More so because nobody will know about everything that happened with me here. About everything I did myself. You seem to be deep in thought about something. A familiar voice sounded nearby. My voice. What do you want? I was surprised by his appearance and even scared a bit. I had enough problems with the Madden Pioneers and had stopped even thinking about my doubles. Although, my doubles? How long has it been since I called them that? Right. For me, those always me, and they were them. Fucking words, rapping boy. We have nothing in common. We are different people, even if we are one at some point. Maybe you're thinking, when did it all go wrong? Here, he was mistaken. I wasn't thinking about that. Tormenting yourself with doubts, asking yourself questions you'll never find answers to. I just want this to be all over. And your presence is hardly helping with that. Everything's long over if you mean it that way. Oh really, that's not particularly noticeable. For everyone but you. That day in the bus, you made the wrong decision and died. What do you mean? I looked over my body carefully. It hurts, which means I'm alive. I don't look much like a dead man. You think that's really all that simple? That movie-like? Do you want to remember the moment when the life left you? Remember your last breath, the point of transition, first moments of the new level of existence? I don't really get you. And that means that I've already died then, in reality. No. You've been given a chance, but you didn't use it, and it ended up in your own personal hell. Limbo, if you wish. Oh, look at you reinventing the wheel as if I didn't know that. You knew that, but you didn't know that you're alone here now, and there's no exit. I knew that. Or at least I'd assume so. So what about you then? I'm not here. I'm just your hallucination. The forest resounded with his disgusting laughter. This is all painfully familiar, but why is it repeating itself now? Is it true when they say that troubles never come singly? Be my guest. Closed my eyes and even turned away just to be sure. Don't treat him like that. He's one of us too, or at least he was once. The familiar voice sounded a bit different. Now 2 pioneers were standing in the clearing in front of me. You have to fight fire with fire. He's already been through enough fighting. I wouldn't say it's enough yet. They were arguing, and the reality lost all meaning to me. Look, he's lost his mind for good already. That's nothing special, it'll pass. Like in the story that we told Oyana. Signed with the name of a non-existent friend. The mad regain their sanity and the sane go mad. And then that devilish laughter again. You think that this is his first time? Isn't it? I know for sure that it isn't. He thinks he remembers everything. He's ready for everything. He knows the behavior of every pioneer beforehand, but he forgot so much, maybe forgot the most important thing.
Enough already!
These 2 suddenly stepped aside and the cat-eared one came forward. I was always kind of wary of her because I thought that there was nothing good to expect from her. Moreover, somewhere deep inside of me she caused some kind of animalistic primal fear, like the fear of the dark. And I never believed her stories either, like that she's our subconscious, its hidden part. What nonsense.
Don't you see how bad off he is? No use like you.
She pointed her finger at the evil pioneer.
Hurry to the infirmary for pills.
What pills? It was a bit started.
I don't know. Aren't you the smartest one here? Figure it out.
The pioneer sighed helplessly and dragged himself in the direction of the camp.
And you.
She looked at the good one.
And you. Well, find something to do, too. Honestly, your whining is sickening. It only makes things worse.
But I only wanted to help.
But you're not helping, so go!
She waved her hand and made an expression that made a thought flash through my head. Just like a grumpy cat. Pioneer didn't argue and followed his double. So what now? I asked without much enthusiasm. I've been tricked more than once and I'm not going to believe her now. Especially her. I would never have thought that of all the local inhabitants it would be the cat-eared one to come to help me. Even if only in words, after all. She remembers the previous times, remembers our quarrel in the bus. Oh, I'm so confused! No, yeah, he is the one. Yeah. Okay. You think that you'll be able to make an idiot of me again? Gathering the last bits of strengths, I raised myself, my eyes darkening from pain. But where will I go? I should have taken the syringe myself. Why did I even decide that a suicide here is the end?
Hey!
The cat-eared one jumped to my side with one leap and held me so I wouldn't fall. You! Do you really want me to believe you're helping me?
What do you think I'm doing now? After all, I always help you all.
Yeah, sure. I sank onto the ground again and let out a heavy sigh. There's really nowhere for me to go in this condition. So when will your pioneers return?
Soon.
She answered vaguely. Okay, let's sit, let's wait. I've got nothing to lose anymore. The whole camp gathered at the square. Olyana was chasing Electronic in a vain attempt to take away his very crumpled cardboard cosmonaut helmet. The scene of the man's first walk into the open space was not without some amusing incidents. Genta's monument served as an impressive rocket for the improvised rocket for the cyberneticists, and Shurik managed to trip and fall from it at the most crucial moment. It's a good thing that the distance to the ground was significantly shorter than the near-Earth orbit, and met him like in the song with the grass near home.
Stop running, you'll kill yourself for good!
Olga was wailing. I'm not even sure what concerned her more in this situation. The cyberneticist or the image of the camp that had no accidents 365 days a year since the beginning of time. Semyon was standing near and tugging on my sleeve, but I was too carried away with the spectacle and didn't notice right away.
So...
What?
Are you sure we should be doing this?
But you wanted this yourself.
I didn't want anything. You just suggested and I agreed.
We've discussed this 100 times already, and you know full well that it's not for real.
Oh, so it's not for real, huh?
She said dreadfully. That's not what I mean. I mean, we're just in this world. Don't forget it. In a couple of days, everything will repeat itself and no one will remember this.
Yes, but I will.
So who are you embarrassed by the most? Those around you or yourself? Xenia blushed and said nothing.
Okay, go change already.
Olga commanded us. Ready? Xenia nodded. Interesting. Oh, look at that. Lena in the background ready to fucking kill. 10 minutes later, a strange sight for a regular pioneer camp could be seen at the square. Oh, what am I saying? It was strange even for Sovyonok. And I felt strange, too, standing in the middle of a crowd of pioneers in an old Soviet costume off someone else's back. Not a formal tailcoat, of course, but still better than shorts and a short-sleeved shirt. Whereas Xenia was apparelled in the hastily cut semblance of a wedding dress. In other situation, I'd say she looks foolish, but not now. Now this dress seemed to be more beautiful than any attire from the pompous fashion shops.
So what scene are you playing now? I forgot.
The camp leader whispered in my ear. Olga, what does it matter already? Let's start.
Okay.
Xenia was standing as red as a lobster, not knowing where to put her eyes. She seemed now to strongly want to look at me. Everything will be alright, I said quietly. Miku was merrily smiling in the crowd of pioneers as if this was her own wedding. A bit foolishly maybe, but sincere. Elena was blushing as usual, but sometimes casting careful glances at us. Alyssa's whole look was saying that she'd been dragged here against her will, and she would be playing the guitar or just sleeping if only she could. Though Yana was clearly thrilled with the whole spectacle, children don't need much to be happy. Whereas if for Slavia, she seemed to be really happy for us and smiled kindly. Let's get this over with already. Looks like any more and Xenia would be embarrassed to death. Okay, we are ready. I nodded to the camp leader. Now I had to say what they usually say at weddings. Of course, I didn't know the exact words and managed to safely forget everything I prepared for beforehand. I promise. I started, my voice shaking. The sickness and oldness. That's not how it was.
What are you mumbling? We can't hear anything.
Olyana merrily shouted.
Be quiet, or we'll put you in Xenia's place.
The threat had an imminent effect on Olyana, and Olyana fell silent. Well, that's... Just a minute ago, I could have sworn I was absolutely calm, and now I couldn't say a word. I could only guess what Xenia was feeling. I gathered my courage. I promise to be with you for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, sickness and in health, until death do us part. Pioneers joyfully clamoring until now stopped talking immediately. Got so quiet I could hear my heart beating furiously. Xenia was still standing, her eyes dropped to the ground. Well, now you. She pumped her air into her lungs and pattered. Agree to marry you, promise to be with you in sickness and for poorer, here. The crowd exploded with laughter. Though for me, Xenia's words sounded quite serious. Get it over with already. What about, now you can kiss the bride? I asked with a playful tone. Xenia's eyes sparkled, making it clear that this situation was good enough even without kisses. I guess she's right, and we'll have time for that anyway.
Good job. Thanks, everyone.
Olga was shouting. Electronic came forward with the camera. He looked as if he would be much happier having a crowbar in his hands instead. Couple of shots to remember, brawl. Hell no! Xenia bawled at him. Come on, for the family album. She hesitated a little, but gave the semblance of a smile after all. It all turned out as it should be, for better than it should be. For the first time in all this time, Xenia looked me right in the eyes, smiled, and said, yeah, I guess. Yeah, fucking wow. I woke up when the day was already drawing to a close. The fever had abated and I found an injection mark on my right hand. Did the cat-eared one really help me? At first I couldn't even believe there's somebody here capable of a kind of deed after all that's happened in the last few days. With some difficulty I got up and headed towards the camp. After all, I was definitely have nothing to do in the forest and it doesn't look like it can get any worse. Time and again, a thought was appearing in my head. I have to endure. I have to live through this week and then it'll be easier. I will recover physically and there'll even be some time to recover mentally. Just don't despair. Don't give up. Don't be like him. I'd rather die than live like that. Pioneers with backpacks, bags, and parcels were scampering back and forth through the square. Camp leader was standing near Gendo like a small monument, arms akimbo and shouting formidably. I froze on the spot, not knowing what to expect. This world is in continuous motion. It changes before my very eyes. Just yesterday they were ready to kill me, and what about today?
Hey, Semyon!
The camp leader shouted and looked at me intimidatingly. Who, me? Are you addressing me?
Why aren't you packed up yet?
Packed up. I'm ready to be packed off.
Today's the last day of the session. Did you forget again? Packing up. Off you go.
I didn't want to argue with her. I just didn't have the strength, and I stopped being surprised a long time ago. So I just flung out. Is it okay that I look like this? Pointed to my torn clothes and bruises all over me.
What happened to you?
Camp leader sincerely wondered.
Were you running through the forest and fell?
What the hell are you talking about? What forest? Why would I even need to run through the forest?
Okay, it's not my business. We are leaving in half an hour. If you're late again, you'll stay for another session.
She smirked. Stay here for another session. No, this definitely lies outside of my plans. Anyways, a new chance to get out of here has appeared, even in such a dumb way. I slowly dragged myself towards the bus stop. Old camp crowded in front of the bus. Everyone's waiting for the camp leader after all. Following rules contradicts our own rules.
Oh, what happened to you?
The pioneer from the infirmary inquired maternally.
Are you alright? Need a bandage?
Why stop at that? Offer me a splint. Must have fallen into a ditch and cried his eyes out. Sure, look who's talking. That's because that's exactly what she did. What if wolves got him? Only if those wolves were local pioneers. I was just sitting quietly on the roadside, my head lowered into my hands. How long have you been sitting there meowing? If he's been sitting there meowing for a long time, I'm sorry, I did not hear him. Yeah, you can hear everything with this mic. Like if you listen closely, you can hear my brothers watching a movie. That's how much this mic can pick up. I didn't even want to think about what will happen tomorrow, whether I'll get into a new loop or will it all end once and for all. Or maybe there's something else waiting for me ahead. Something. Better? Maybe. Hey, it's a Jew. When I woke up, Xenia wasn't nearby. Must have gone to take care of some personal business. God, why does she need this whole pioneer game? Especially on the wedding night. I stretched myself and yawned with pleasure. Oh well, at least I can surprise her, pick some flowers in the forest. Not much of a gift, but I know she likes May lilies. I could never understand why women like flowers. Why not nettles or hogweed then? Those are plants too. They are nice in their habitats, not pots or vases. Although, what does it matter if every time I gifted flowers to Xenia, her face lit up with a bright smile? Of course, it might have been not because of the flowers alone. With the bouquet in my hands, I filed in the library, loudly throwing the door open. Behind the librarian's table was sitting Alyssa, looking gloomy and leafing through some magazine. Oh, the newlyweds had shown up, she muttered, looking sullenly. Hey, where's Xenia? Dunno. Asked me to sit here for her and went somewhere herself. Well, yes, my Xenia can even persuade Alyssa. Okay then, And somehow she wasn't glowing with happiness at all. Alyssa said in my back, where did Xenia go? Maybe she decided to make me a surprise gift too. No, surprises are not a thing. It must be simply time for breakfast. I ran to the canteen. Pioneers merrily clamoring inside, the dishes were clattering in the same merry manner. Even the usually gloom lady cook looked unusually merry today. I noticed Slavia and walked up to her. Hi, have you seen Xenia? Slavia looked at me with surprise and got embarrassed and turned her eyes away.
I think she went to the bus stop.
The bus stop? Why?
I don't know. You better ask her yourself. You'll still make it if you hurry.
To the bus stop? To the bus stop! In a minute I ran past the camp's gates. I saw Xenia standing at the road, her gaze direction somewhere far away to the horizon, past the plains and the forest following the bright summer sun. A strange expression was on her face, sadness, anticipation, and anguish mixed together, but at the same time, Xenia looked so very different. I didn't recognize her. It wasn't Xenia, I guess. Better? No. I can believe this even less than the fact that tomorrow I'll return to the real world. Maybe it was better before. It seemed like that pioneer was saying that I forgot a lot. But what exactly? Hey, I was looking for you. That sounded silly, but my voice was trembling. I just had to say something, so I put a fake smile on and tried to talk in a friendly manner. What do you want? Xenia responded coldly. I woke up and you were gone, so Xenia turned around with her eyes shining. I'm going, she said with a calm voice. Where? Home. But buses don't come here. Buses? What the heck? They do. Here, I made this for you. I handed her a bouquet, which instantly ended up on the ground. I don't need anything from you. Yesterday, I don't want to know you. I don't know what happened, but I'm sure it was all your fault. What was my fault? Everything. Stupid marriage. What happened during last night? But we agreed. You wanted this yourself, remember, a couple weeks ago? I didn't even know you a couple weeks ago. Oh no. Oh no. The real Xenia disappeared. Yeah, it all started back then. Or continued, I don't care anymore. I decided that I could be happy with Xenia, but she disappeared just as she appeared. Suddenly. Xenia sitting not in the library, but at the canteen porch. It was so long ago. Oh. I get it. So that was... Damn, was it? So was she like in the middle? Okay, so was she before now or after now? I don't know. I lost my faith once, I stopped being human. But then I met her and it almost seemed like life was giving me a second chance, albeit in a strange world. But then she was gone, and during the endless cycles, I forgot everything and went back to how I was before. I went back to how I was before I first met her. I stopped being myself. Maybe he was right? What are you saying? We've known each other for... I don't even know how long we've known each other for. I don't know you and I don't want to know you. But, wait, Suddenly weakness hit me and I dropped to my knees, just to avoid falling on my face. My ring felt very hot on my finger. I could feel the burning almost physically. Here, take it! Xenia took something out of her pocket and threw it at me. I'm going for a walk! I twisted the thin engagement ring in my hands and started crying. I never cried like this before, not in this world, not in the previous one. Wow. And everything ended. Forever. I guess something human remained in me, so I decided to forget everything. So as to not go completely insane. So he was Semyon for a bit. And then he was shit Semyon. Oh, okay, so... Okay, so this one... So yeah, this one and this line is after that whole Xenia thing. Okay, so he was Semyon and then shit Semyon that I met in the cat ending. And then he was... Xenia Semyon. And now he's shit Semyon again, but he's going back to being good Semyon. I think. I guess, yeah. But now all my memories were here and with them came the pain. It wasn't that bad. It had slowly weakened through time, but it was still tearing me apart. Almost as if being torn to pieces. And the only piece remaining was the one with my consciousness somehow in it. Not one, not half, only a sad coincidence. An acceptable error in the perfect equation of this world. Don't be so sad, brah. Some pioneer was sitting next to me. You again? Who, me? What difference does it make it? You, him, that one, this one. You all look alike. He didn't respond. He just giggled. Did you come here to mock me again? It would have been better if you just killed me that time. But you remember everything. I remembered, and it's even worse because of that. You're the one at fault here. At fault? For what? For trying to stop you from leaving with Cat-Eared? I know that was you in that bus. So he didn't leave. I'm so confused. There was still no emotions on the pioneer's face. Maybe it was, or it wasn't. What's the difference now? That means you managed to get out. And came back just to mock me? Didn't you do the same? Stop pushing these morals on me, for God's sake. I was down on my knees and looking at Xenia, who was slowly getting further and further away. And there she went around the corner. I can't get her back. Anyway, I knew that this wasn't Xenia. My real Xenia disappeared yesterday. This was just a soulless doll that looked like her. Oh, so... that was her key out. Semyon was Xenia's key out. But this Semyon is still in here. But she looked just like her. But hell can't last forever. This world is true hell and I'm the demon. And demons can't ever reach true happiness. Just tell me one thing. I killed the silence. Why is everything like this? You had a chance from the very beginning. A choice. You could have done everything differently. Many did it right. Different from how you and other pioneers alike did. Yeah, right. They all got out and are now living happily with their dolls in the real world. I grinned. Do you think that your life is better? No, yeah, okay, so he is out. But he's able to converse with the past, with this Semyon. He clearly emphasized on the word life. If you're the one that took Xenu away from me, rage was growing inside of me. I wanted to jump on him and beat him to death, but I wasn't sure that he existed in the physical world. But even then, what would change? You could have been happy with every other girl, that's the reason they're all here. I didn't expect such an answer. But none of them were real. The only real ones were me, you, us all. Xenu. That's only for you and your world. You know that there are many realities, and in every one of those you pick your own faith. Maybe there was only one Semyon, but this camp gave him multiple possibilities. Someone managed to get out and now lives happily. Like you said, someone stuck like you. Can you tell me what this place is? Who are you? You can think of me as the camp leader. Pioneer gave a smile without any trace of mockery or irony and vanished. Felt a bit easier after hearing his words. The world suddenly engulfed in fog. A bright flash appeared in front of me. I looked around and realized that the pioneers are gone as well as the bus. What, again? The gates creaked silently and I hid behind the pioneers' monument. Semyon walked onto the bus stop. One of the Semyons, but his facial expression was painfully familiar. I've forgotten long ago that I can look exactly like that. He stared at the road for some time and headed back into the camp. Don't trust him, I said on impulse. Who are you? Semyon looked surprised. Stop, don't come any closer. Alright, I'll stay here. Have you seen him? Talked to him? I'm fucked! Okay, so we all know that. Fuck. Okay, what I'm getting at. The Semyon I am now. He's been there longer than the Semyon that escaped with the cat girl, longer than the Semyon that's been there with the harem, longer than the Semyon with all the other endings that I've done. He's been there longer. Oh my god, there's like 54 fucking dimension Semyons. But the Semyon that escaped with the cat ear girl came back, but he's telling... This Semyon that I'm playing right now is telling my other Semyon not to trust him. But that was... Because that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the pioneer... That Semyon is talking about not trusting himself. The one with the red text. The one with the red text is telling Semyon that escaped with the cat not to trust the one with the red text, even though the one with the red text is himself. And the Semyon that he just met before at the bus stop is the Semyon that got out. But that happened after... That was technically before and after this Semyon walked out and saw that one, and he said, "Oh my god, this is just too much, man." Have you seen him? Talk to him? Who are you? And who are you even talking about? You know who. Yeah. What did he tell you? Nothing, really. Did he give you advice? Did he tell you what to do? Threaten you? No, nothing like that. Of course, he seemed pretty weird, but nothing more than that. Remember, he may not be alone, or more likely, he is alone, but you may meet many pioneers who look like him. What about you? Who are you? Who are you hiding from? You will understand in time. Just remember, the most important thing is to find the exit. The wind became really strong for a moment, and the same flash appeared before me. And again, in an instant, the bus and pioneers appeared once again. I don't know what I told him everything for. I thought it was the right thing to do. If only I remembered what remorse and repentance were, then possibly that would be what I'm feeling. Pioneers should always be ready. A familiar voice sounded like thunder in the midst of a clear sky, and a familiar thump on my back brought me out of the catatonic state I was in. Xenia was standing in front of me. I instantly knew this was Xenia, not the doll. But how? Those were the only words I could whisper. I don't know. She smiled, but her voice was trembling. Back then, after the wedding, I woke up in a different world. I thought that I'd lost you, and then there were so many loops that I nearly forgot. Sorry, I said quietly. Forgive me for everything. But that was okay. Then he came and said that you could guide me to the world you're in. I didn't believe it at first, but here I am. I jumped forward and hugged Xenia. Forgive me, I'd forgotten everything. Forgotten you. Done so many bad things to you, I didn't believe it. Didn't hope for it. I'm sorry. You're going to suffocate me. So, okay. Fuck. This is fucking me so hard right now. She freed herself from my arms. But now I'm here, so everything's okay, she said through tears. How can you be so calm? Because I always knew that we were going to be together. Xenia raised her hand, and on her right finger I saw a ring that was woven out of May Lily. I've lost mine. I'm sorry. It's okay, we'll buy a new one. She smiled. Hey, hop onto the bus, you two. Olga was screaming discontentedly. This is really weird. The bus was peacefully bouncing over the bumps and slowly driving towards the district center, or wherever it was going, really. You know, I can't believe that everything will end. I've gone through so much in the last week. And once again, you got the most interesting parts. Xenia sulked. I don't think you'd like to exchange places with me. I can imagine, but it's still way more interesting than sitting in the library for days on end. You must have weird ideas about interesting things. Did you think about it? About what? What will happen next? Tomorrow? We still need to meet somehow in the real world. Oh yeah, let me write your address down. You're right, so you can send me a letter right now. I smiled. I'll memorize it. Go ahead. We exchanged numbers and addresses. It's weird that we didn't have this idea earlier. I assume we never even hoped to get out of this world, and we just didn't want to remind ourselves about our past lives. What do you think it would be like? The usual, we just fall asleep? Xenia clasped my hand and pressed her entire body against me. I hope so, but in the end, this isn't the worst thing. I'd say one of the better ones. Xenia yawned and closed her eyes. Sweet dreams. See you. I didn't say anything and just continued looking out the window at the landscape that was flying by. Sovyonok camp was left behind and will never return there. Yeah, I was sure about that. But it will always be a part of my life. I've changed there, changed multiple times. Compared to the time spent, the mere 50, 60 years that I've remaining in the real world are just a short moment. But I'll make sure to live them like they're like a real human. Yeah, you're probably bad, just as Pioneer said. Xenia mumbled through her sleep. What? Nothing, just sleep already. She laughed and pinched me painfully. I wonder what everyone else felt in my place. Same loss of consciousness in the first moments. The feeling of anxiety, panic. I came back to my old apartment, but I didn't recognize any of it. Yes, it definitely feels like being in a house that you've lived in many years ago. Everything looks to be in the right place, but you don't remember anything. You just think that this is how it's supposed to be. I've already forgotten the day I've disappeared from this world, and I'm not so sure about the year either. but it's winter outside, and that means that not much time had passed here. Yeah, I'm not 17 years old anymore, but I don't look my real age either. So it turns out everything went okay. My return didn't have any unexpected consequences. Xenia rushed to the table and wrote down the address and phone number with a shaking hand. I obviously wouldn't be able to forget them, but it'd be better to have a backup anyway. Now what's next? How does this world work anyway? The laws are completely different here, none of which, to be honest, I've ever understood. And now I'm like a newborn, forced to live an adult's life? But let's save that for later. For now, I need to find Xenia. Someone rang the doorbell. Humans. Real humans, not pioneers. I could open the door. What else can I do? I finally returned and I have to live in this world now. I slowly walked up to the door, turned the key in the lock, grabbed the handle and froze. So, how long should I stay in the doorway for? Oh, she's cute! I opened the door with a jerk and saw Xenia. She looked just like she did in the camp. But, how? Remember, I always arrived in the camp 1 week earlier than you, and I returned 1 week earlier. I forgot about Sovyonok, forgot about the real world. The only thing that matters is we're together. I grabbed Xenia and carried her into the room. So, are we just going to stand around? Oh, sorry. Xenia lightly jumped down onto the floor. Wait a bit. We need to do this right now. We might not have time for it later. She smiled and started digging through her purse. Give me your hand. I extended my arm out to her and Xenia put a ring on my finger. Just a very basic one, like the one in the camp. In the dim light of a dusty ceiling lamp, a golden ring was shining on her finger. I think I should have bought the rings. Well, judging by the looks of your man cave, I don't think you have the money for them. We laughed together sincerely. Real snow was falling outside the window, white, beautiful snow. The darkness of the night sliced by thousands upon thousands of the lights of the big city and was singing with hundreds of voices, reminding us that we're still alive and still together. I gently moved my hand across Xenia's cheek. Warm. Real. You won't disappear this time? You better believe it. You still owe me money for the rings. I hugged Xenia and kissed her like never before. Yeah, wow. And that was it. That was one Pioneer's story. So, I think I do have to read through that thing that, that Carbarone sent me, because I still don't quite get it. Yeah, I still don't quite get it, but I think I kind of do. So the original Semyon, of course, fell asleep, but he was divided upon multi-dimension, because, you know, like, theory and the multiverse theory and all. And they all went to the same place. And then, I'm trying really hard to think about this. And it's so confusing. Okay, I'm gonna go read through that thing. Okay. What I got from that? Just parallel universes. That's all I got from that. So, in it, so, the Semyon that we're playing, Semyon is the only real one in those worlds. And then there's camps where only Slavia is the real one. And like, as they said, and only Miku or Marsha is the real one. But they're able to transfer themselves over different universes, just like what happened with Xenia. And, you know, the other Semyons and stuff. But I still don't get why it was him. I still don't get why it was Kim and Slavia and Olyana and all that. I don't get. Maybe it was because the universe in this game is tricky, but I'm actually very sad that this ends now because this was really, really fun. This was a great story. I fucking enjoyed it. I don't know what I'm gonna do now. I don't know, I might just go sit in a corner, be all depressed and shit. I don't know. But, yeah, well, I went into this game thinking it was just gonna be a regular old dating sim game. Being like, oh sweet, you get to be with the girl that you choose from the start and all this other junk. No, it was completely different and it fucking shook me. And I fucking loved it. So it goes without saying, don't judge a book by its cover. So I guess remember to like, subscribe, comment, click on that notification button. I'll see all of you beautiful people in the next video. Bye bye.